Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. We're gonna get through this. That's tough because
Floyd Mayweather is taking the IRS to court. The boxer still owes the IRS his 2015 federal income taxes, but Mayweather has asked a tax court for reprieve until after his August 26th fight with Conor McGregor, saying his current assets are, quote, restricted and primarily illiquid. Now, it's unclear how much Mayweather owes the IRS, but in 2015, he had a very big year, reportedly earning between $220 and $230 million for defeating Manny Pacquiao. Now, Mayweather filed the initial petition on July 5th, but the IRS declined, citing he had the means to pay the debt immediately. In the worst-case scenario, if the IRS does not approve his reprieve, a lien could be attached to all of Mayweather's property.
Floyd landed in serious trouble when his assets were frozen over unpaid taxes, turning the flashy money image into something far more complicated than what fans usually see across social media.
Damn, Floyd Mayweather, Money Mayweather. Why they got you up under the gun again on $25 million in taxes? Hey man, you know, stuff about to get real for you, Floyd, man, because you already owe Gervonta Davis $33 million that you ain't paid him.
Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest boxers of his generation, although some also think about his past legal challenges. But could he now also be the person who uncovered a massive real estate tax evasion scheme? That is the question posed in a new LA Magazine article. The story is called From Ring to Real Estate. Floyd Mayweather exposes a possible mega...
The weight of the silence. We're gonna get through this. We open with a rare moment of vulnerability as Floyd's team acknowledges the tough reality of the IRS battle. We break down the petition for reprieve that reveals a shocking truth. The man with $100 million in his backpack is currently struggling with restricted and illiquid assets, unable to pay a debt that has haunted him since 2015. In a rare moment of raw vulnerability, Floyd Mayweather's team broke their usual wall of silence with a simple, heavy statement: "We're gonna get through this." Behind those quiet words lies the crushing weight of a long-running IRS battle that continues to haunt the self-proclaimed Money Mayweather. The recent petition for reprieve paints a startling picture that contradicts the flashy image the world has come to expect. The documents reveal that despite claims of carrying $100 million in cash and living like a billionaire, Mayweather's assets are largely restricted and illiquid. Properties, investments, and holdings that look impressive on paper are not easily convertible into the cash needed to settle a debt dating back to 2015. The man who once boasted about never worrying about money is now quietly fighting to keep the wolves at bay. This silence carries profound emotional weight. For years, Floyd built an empire on the narrative of untouchable success. Now, the vulnerability shown by his team suggests the cracks are showing. The IRS battle isn't just about numbers. It's about a man who spent decades proving he made it, only to find himself trapped by the very success he flaunted. The petition exposes the gap between the public persona and private reality. A fighter who dominated the ring now struggling to dominate his own finances. Dana White and others have hinted at this tension for years. The constant need to project wealth has created a fragile house of cards. When even a small portion of that empire becomes illiquid, the entire image begins to tremble. This moment of honesty from Floyd's camp feels like a deep breath before the next round. A quiet acknowledgement that the fight isn't over, and the stakes are deeply personal. For a man who built his identity on being TBE, admitting any form of struggle is perhaps the hardest punch he has ever had to take.
Broke? What a stupid question. Are you a stupid person? Of course he's broke. He's a boxer that allegedly doesn't know how to read.
If you set up a company that's in another state, you don't have to pay this extra exorbitant tax that is supposed to be helping the neediest people in Los Angeles. Karen Bass, is very dedicated to making sure that the homeless situation is cleaned up. This is one of the ways that they're doing, and it looks like there could be possibly lots of different ways to scam the system.
And Floyd Mayweather is a provocative and controversial figure, but I think this article may make people...
Under the gun, why the flashy image is becoming a cage. We explore the Money Mayweather paradox, where every luxury purchase is a tax liability and every private jet flight is a reminder of the $22 million he still owes the government. We look at the human pressure of maintaining a billionaire image while the IRS prepares to attach a lien to every single property he owns. The Money Mayweather paradox has never been more painful to watch. Every luxury purchase, every private jet flight, and every headline-grabbing flex now carries the shadow of massive tax liability. While Floyd continues to project the image of a billionaire who never worries about money, the reality is far more suffocating. The government is still owed approximately $22 million, and the IRS is preparing to place liens on nearly every property associated with his name. This flashy lifestyle, once a symbol of triumph, has slowly transformed into a golden cage. Every new watch, car, or extravagant vacation isn't just spending. It becomes another line item that draws attention from the tax authorities. The pressure to maintain the billionaire image 24/7 is exhausting. Floyd must wake up every day knowing that the same symbols of success that made him famous are now tightening the noose around his financial freedom. The human cost is immense. Behind the smiles and the money chants is a man trapped by his own brand. He cannot afford to appear vulnerable or scaled back, because the entire empire depends on the illusion of endless wealth. Meanwhile, the IRS threat looms like a storm cloud that never quite passes. Every property, every asset, risks being frozen or seized if the situation isn't resolved. This paradox reveals the double-edged sword of extreme success. Floyd worked his entire life to escape poverty, only to find himself imprisoned by the very image that was supposed to set him free. The private jets that once represented victory now serve as expensive reminders of what he still owes. As the pressure mounts, the question grows louder. How long can a man keep performing under the gun before the weight of the performance becomes unbearable?
Regular talking about real estate. Well, lately I purchased 62 apartment buildings in New York City. And what I need you guys to do, slide over and check out the photos. It's not all 62 buildings, it's a few buildings, but guess what? All the buildings belong to me. I don't have no partners. And all the retail down low on my buildings all belong to me.
The broke question, a cruel reality or a stupid distraction. We analyze the polarizing debate over Floyd's liquidity. Is he a financial genius playing a long-term tax game? Or is he, as some critics suggest, a man who doesn't know how to read the fine print of his own destruction? We dive into the exorbitant taxes meant to help the homeless that are now closing in on the King of Las Vegas. The broke question surrounding Floyd Mayweather has split the internet and boxing community. Is he a financial genius, strategically playing a long-term tax game? Or is he simply a man who never learned to read the fine print that could lead to his own destruction? The debate is cruel, but it refuses to die. While Floyd continues to insist he is untouchable, the IRS pressure, including exorbitant taxes originally intended to support the homeless, is now closing in on the self-proclaimed King of Las Vegas. Critics argue that the same man who dominates inside the ring has shown surprising naivety when it comes to managing his empire outside of it. The gap between his public boasts and the reality of restricted, illiquid assets has left many wondering whether the money persona has blinded him to basic financial realities. Others defend him fiercely, claiming he is simply too smart to let the government win, and that this is all part of a calculated chess match. This polarizing discussion cuts to the heart of modern celebrity. In a world that worships wealth, any sign of financial struggle is treated as failure. For Floyd, the broke accusations feel like a personal attack on everything he has built. Yet the mounting tax issues, taxes meant to help society's most vulnerable, now threaten to humble the man who once seemed invincible. The human tragedy lies in the contradiction. A fighter celebrated for his ring intelligence now finds himself fighting a different kind of battle, where the rules are less clear and the consequences more permanent. Whether genius or oversight, the broke question forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Even the greatest champions can become prisoners of their own success when the spotlight moves from the ring to the balance sheet.
Point like this because all of them. We're in New York City right now. We're in Manhattan. That's what we do. Come on. You know what to do? All this money made. No partners. All by myself. Over 1,000 apartments.
The 62-building ghost empire. Ownership versus perception. We break down Floyd's bold claim of owning a massive New York apartment portfolio with no partners. We contrast his public bravado with the cold, hard investigative records showing those buildings are controlled by others, leaving Floyd with nothing but a minor stake and a major image problem. Floyd Mayweather has boldly claimed ownership of a massive New York real estate portfolio, sometimes citing 62 buildings or more, insisting he has no partners and built everything himself. The public bravado is vintage Mayweather, yet cold, hard investigative records tell a different story. Many of those properties appear controlled by other entities, leaving Floyd with only minor stakes at best and a growing image problem at worst. This 62-building ghost empire perfectly illustrates the widening gap between perception and reality. Floyd's claims feed the legend of the self-made billionaire who rose from nothing. But when deeds, corporate filings, and ownership documents are examined, the narrative begins to crumble. What remains is a man whose public image relies heavily on exaggeration, while the actual assets tell a far more modest tale. The contrast creates an uncomfortable tension. On one side stands the confident, larger-than-life Floyd, who speaks with absolute certainty. On the other sits the documented reality that suggests his empire is far less dominant than advertised. This disconnect isn't just about numbers, it's about identity. For a man who built his brand on being TBE in every area of life, any challenge to his business success feels like an attack on his entire existence. The ghost empire raises deeper questions about how much of Floyd's wealth is substance versus story. As the IRS pressure continues and public scrutiny grows, the gap between what he claims and what can be proven becomes harder to ignore. In the end, the real battle may not be inside the ring, but in proving that the empire he so confidently describes actually belongs to him.
Different things that I'm doing. You know, what I'm working on right now in New York City, I know you guys, if you guys haven't seen one of my buildings, is One Summit, you know.
Yes.
You know, it's actually it's one of the tallest commercial buildings in the world. So just in New York alone, I got 9 skyscrapers.
Yeah. What's the address of that building?
I don't know that one by heart. Filing a lawsuit against a media company for speaking bad about my company. I'm not a liar. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a liar. I work hard to build my name, to build my reputation, and I'm not gonna let anyone go out there and speak.
The skyscrapers of glass, when the address is I don't know. We look at the uncomfortable moment Floyd is asked for the specifics of his New York empire. From claiming one summit to 9 skyscrapers, we explore the psychology of a man who feels the need to inflate his reality to remain relevant, even when the truth is just one Google search away. One of the most uncomfortable moments in recent Floyd Mayweather interviews came when he was pressed for specific details about his New York real estate empire. When asked for addresses or exact properties, his responses ranged from vague claims of one summit to 9 skyscrapers, eventually trailing off into, I don't know. This exchange exposed the fragile nature of the skyscrapers of glass he has built, impressive in appearance, but lacking solid foundation when examined closely. The psychology behind this inflation is fascinating and deeply human. Floyd has spent years crafting a narrative of total dominance in and out of the ring. In a world that rewards the biggest numbers and loudest claims, admitting any limitation feels like weakness. So he inflates. One building becomes several. A stake becomes full ownership. The need to remain relevant pushes him to stretch reality, even when the truth sits just one Google search away. This moment reveals the pressure of maintaining a larger-than-life persona. Every exaggeration is born from the fear that if the myth shrinks, so does the man. Yet the more he inflates, the more fragile the entire structure becomes. The skyscrapers of glass look stunning from a distance, but they shatter easily under scrutiny. Floyd's discomfort during the questioning showed a man caught between the story he has told for years and the reality that refuses to match it. In the end, this isn't just about real estate, it's about identity. A champion who once controlled every moment in the ring now struggles to control the narrative of his own success. The glass skyscrapers may shine for now, but they reveal how delicate the foundation of fame and fortune can truly be.
Right. You know, and he's still, flying to Monaco with a bad, buying up half the store.
Right. Always flying private.
Yeah.
Does he have his own plane?
Yeah, he does.
He does, right. So that's massively expensive. Even if you own it, the upkeep is huge. Right. Plus all the properties, all the property tax. Yeah, I mean, if you're not properly invested, I mean, because there was he was saying that he bought this building in the Diamond District, but people are saying that's, the same jeweler said that's actually not true.
Right.
The defiance. I am a lot of things, but I am not a liar. In a raw emotional outburst, Floyd defends his reputation against a media lawsuit. We hear the voice of a man who worked for every drop of sweat to build a name, now lashing out because he feels that name is being speared by the very public that once worshipped him. In a raw and emotional outburst, Floyd Mayweather declared, "I am a lot of things, but I am not a liar," while defending himself against a media lawsuit. The defiance in his voice was unmistakable. A man who clawed his way from poverty through blood, sweat, and unmatched discipline, now feeling that the name he built is being attacked and speared by the same public that once worshipped him. This moment stripped away the usual bravado and revealed deep hurt. Floyd has always taken pride in his journey. Every dollar, every victory, and every headline was earned the hard way. To be painted as dishonest or fraudulent cuts to the core of his identity. The pain is palpable. A fighter who never backed down in the ring now finds himself swinging back against accusations that threaten everything he represents. The outburst carries the weight of betrayal. The public that celebrated his success now questions it. The media that once amplified his brand now challenges it. In Floyd's eyes, this feels deeply personal. An attempt to tear down a legacy he sacrificed so much to create. His voice cracked with genuine frustration as he reminded everyone of the work ethic that defined his career. This defiance is both strength and vulnerability. It shows a man unwilling to let his name be tarnished without a fight, yet it also exposes how much the criticism wounds him. For someone who built his entire identity on being TBE, any threat to that title feels like an existential attack. The raw emotion in his defense reminds us that behind the money, the cars, and the confidence is a human being who still cares deeply about how history will remember him.
That's like $300 million. Burn through it. They say that you, over the course of your career, made $300 million.
Really? That's what they said.
That's what they said.
Okay.
And then at one point, you filed for bankruptcy and you were in debt. That's an amount of money that's just mind-blowing. $300 million, that's like multi-generational wealth to your great.
The Tyson warning, how $300 million turns to zero. Aries Spears brings a chilling perspective to the table, comparing Mayweather's spending to Mike Tyson's legendary collapse. We analyze the massively expensive upkeep of a private plane and half-a-store shopping sprees in Monaco, asking, at what point does the burn rate exceed the legend? Comedian Aries Spears delivered a chilling warning by drawing direct parallels between Floyd Mayweather's spending habits and Mike Tyson's infamous financial collapse. Tyson once earned over $300 million only to watch it vanish into bankruptcy. Spears suggests Floyd is walking the same dangerous path, where the massively expensive upkeep of private planes, half-a-store shopping sprees in Monaco, and endless luxury purchases could eventually outpace even his legendary earning power. The comparison is sobering. Both men rose from difficult backgrounds to achieve extraordinary success, only to find that the faster the money comes in, the faster it seems to disappear. Spears highlights how the burn rate, the monthly cost of maintaining the money lifestyle, keeps rising. Private jets, massive entourages, and constant high-end purchases aren't just indulgences. They become financial black holes that demand more and more income just to stay afloat. The question hangs heavy. At what point does the burn rate exceed the legend? Even a fighter as financially successful as Mayweather cannot outrun mathematics forever. Spears' perspective forces us to confront the human reality behind the glamour. The same drive that made Floyd great in the ring may be pushing him toward the same cliff that claimed Tyson's fortune. This warning isn't meant to shame. It's meant to wake up. History shows that no amount of past earnings can protect someone from poor spending discipline and an unsustainable lifestyle. As Floyd continues to chase bigger paydays and flashier displays, the Tyson warning grows louder. The legend is real, but so is the danger of watching $300 million slowly turn to zero.
Rotator cuff was f***ed up. Okay. Now, I know people might go excuse, but his rotator cuff was f***ed up. So I'm saying that to say, given that his rotator cuff won't be f***ed up this time, it's kind of even. They're the same age, damn near. And Pacquiao still, fights with fire. This could be a better fight.
The mind-blowing debt. Learning from the ghosts of the past. We revisit Mike Tyson's admission of bankruptcy, a $300 million fortune vanished into the void. This isn't just a joke, it's a cautionary tale for Floyd, whose constant pursuit of huge paydays and exhibition matches suggests a man running a race against his own bank account. Mike Tyson's honest admission of losing a $300 million fortune remains one of the most mind-blowing stories in sports history. What was once dismissed as a punchline has become a haunting cautionary tale for the current generation, especially for Floyd Mayweather. Tyson's collapse serves as a stark warning for anyone who believes past success guarantees future security. Floyd's relentless pursuit of huge paydays and high-profile exhibitions now reads like a man running a desperate race against his own bank account. The constant need for fresh income to fuel an ever-expanding lifestyle mirrors the same patterns that destroyed Tyson's wealth. Private planes, massive entourages, luxury shopping, all of it adds up quickly, and the burn rate never slows down. This isn't just about money, it's about learning from the ghosts of the past before history repeats itself. Tyson's story shows how quickly even the largest fortunes can evaporate when spending outpaces earning and discipline disappears. For Floyd, the warning signs are there. Illiquid assets, ongoing IRS battles, and an image that demands constant financial performance. The human lesson is painful, but clear. Greatness in the ring does not automatically translate to greatness with money. Without careful management and realistic boundaries, even a champion can wake up one day to find his empire gone. As Mayweather continues pushing for bigger moments, Tyson's ghost stands as a silent reminder that no fighter is immune to the dangers of unchecked excess and poor financial oversight.
Just like some of although Jake is proven to be helping a lot of our fighters, a lot of our girl fighters, but I think that that fight's gone, and they already have one. We don't need another one. If they want to do it for entertainment for the fans, that's great. Good money for them. But as far as
the disciplined ghost, why Manny Pacquiao is the silent contrast. As the rematch looms, we look at how Pacquiao represents the stable alternative to Floyd's chaos. We dive into the human feeling that despite his own losses, Manny's journey feels more balanced, turning the upcoming fight into a clash of two very different souls. As the potential Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch looms, Manny Pacquiao stands as the ultimate silent contrast to Floyd's chaotic lifestyle, the disciplined ghost who chose a different path. While Floyd's life has been defined by excess, controversy, and financial turbulence, Pacquiao has maintained a sense of stability and balance that many find refreshing. Despite his own career setbacks and financial challenges, Manny's journey feels more grounded. His faith, family focus, and continued service to the Philippines have given his story a sense of purpose that goes beyond money and fame. In contrast, Floyd's constant need to prove his wealth and status creates an atmosphere of endless pressure and performance. This difference turns the potential rematch into far more than a boxing match. It becomes a clash of two very different souls. One built on discipline, humility, and community, the other on individual dominance and extravagant display. Pacquiao represents the road not taken, a champion who achieved greatness without losing himself completely to the trappings of success. The human feeling many share is that Manny's life, though imperfect, carries a quiet dignity that Floyd's flash sometimes lacks. As the two legends potentially share the ring again, the contrast will be impossible to ignore. One man fighting to protect an empire of image, the other fighting with a clearer sense of who he is beyond the spotlight. In that sense, the rematch isn't just about legacy. It's about which philosophy of success ultimately proves more sustainable.
He looks like he could fight the next day. I mean, he looks in great shape. He looks like a man that takes care of himself. But really, what is the plus for that fight other than
money?
Yeah, why are we putting the young guys in the spotlight? Why are we not? Let's just say the young man that I worked the corner with the other day, Barboza. Why can't they put him against a Haney or a Garcia or something?
The who cares reality. Abel Sanchez cuts through the nostalgia. Sanchez brings a brutal human truth to the discussion. The world has moved on. He questions why we are chasing a 2015 ghost in 2026, forcing us to ask if this rematch is for the fans' love or simply for money to keep the lights on. Trainer Abel Sanchez delivered a brutal dose of reality when he cut through the nostalgia surrounding a potential Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch. His "who cares" perspective forced everyone to confront an uncomfortable truth. The world has largely moved on from 2015. The excitement that once surrounded these two legends has faded, replaced by a new generation of fighters and fans. Sanchez questioned the real motivation behind pushing the rematch in 2026. Is it truly for the love of the sport and the fans, or is it simply another chase for money to keep the lights on? The brutal honesty exposed the commercial engine driving the conversation more than any genuine sporting desire. This reality check stings because it forces us to examine our own nostalgia. Many fans still crave the dream fight, but Sanchez reminds us that time has passed, bodies have aged, and the sport has evolved. Chasing ghosts from over a decade ago may satisfy promoters and aging stars, but it risks disappointing those who remember the original fight with rose-tinted glasses. The human truth Abel Sanchez brought forward is both sobering and necessary. Legends deserve respect, but forcing a rematch for financial reasons, rather than competitive ones, can tarnish the very legacies they hope to enhance. As discussions continue, his "who cares" question lingers. A reminder that sometimes the kindest thing we can do for our heroes is to let them rest in the glory of their prime, rather than drag them back into the spotlight for one more payday.
That's on Mayweather and Pacquiao, September. It's a legendary fight, I feel like it's gonna be a different fight now that, they're at two different ages. They well out of retirement, well, past retirement, well, whatever you say. So they both retired for a long time, and I think it's gonna be a different fight, so the fans are definitely gonna be in tune.
Who you get advantage to, Keyshawn? Who you get advantage to, Floyd or Pacquiao?
Floyd for sure, because he already won the first time. He only as good as your best on your last performance.
Reflexes versus reality. The tragedy of aging in the ring. Abel Sanchez and Keishan Davis discuss the outdated nature of a Mayweather-Pacquiao sequel. We explore the sadness of watching two legends whose timing and reflexes are no longer there, stepping back into the fire because the younger generation hasn't yet learned how to command the world's attention. Abel Sanchez and Keishan Davis spoke with honest sadness about the outdated nature of a potential Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch. Both acknowledged the tragedy of watching two aging legends whose legendary timing and reflexes are no longer what they once were, stepping back into the ring. The discussion wasn't cruel, it was human. It recognized the painful reality that time eventually catches up with even the greatest fighters. The real heartbreak lies in the reason they might return. With the younger generation still struggling to capture the world's attention the way Mayweather and Pacquiao once did, these two icons feel pressured to fill the void. Their reflexes may have slowed, but their star power remains one of the few things that can still move the needle in boxing. This creates a bittersweet situation. Fans want to see the dream rematch, yet many also dread watching two proud champions risk their legacies against the harsh reality of father time. The sadness comes from knowing that the magic that made them special in 2015 may no longer be there in 2026. Sanchez and Davis highlighted the difficult choice facing aging greats: retire with dignity or keep fighting to stay relevant. In the end, the discussion revealed a deeper truth about combat sports. The same qualities that make legends immortal also make it incredibly hard for them to walk away. The upcoming clash, if it happens, will be less about skill and more about the quiet tragedy of watching greatness slowly fade under the bright lights one final time.
And time and go as a fighter.
Yeah.
You think his time and his reflexes will still be there?
No, both of their reflexes and time is still ain't there. But I'm gonna say this too though. Pacquiao's last performance was crazy against a younger fighter too. You know, but Floyd also been doing a lot of exhibitions, so they both been like kind of active. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta judge off their last fight. You know what I'm saying? Before Pacquiao fought Barrios, he ain't fighting a very long time. You know, but Floyd had probably like 2-3 exhibitions. Floyd even fought Logan Paul. He a young kid, so Floyd is the more active retirement fighter.
He was after Mugabe though.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like
the active retirement, fighting to survive or fighting to live. Keishan Davis points out the irony of Floyd's active retirement through exhibitions. We look at the human drive to stay in fighting shape against Logan Paul and influencers, asking if Floyd is addicted to the spotlight or if he simply cannot afford to step out of it. Keishan Davis highlighted the irony of Floyd Mayweather's so-called active retirement. Instead of walking away cleanly, Floyd has stayed in fighting shape through a series of exhibitions against Logan Paul, influencers, and other non-traditional opponents. The question Davis forces us to ask is simple but profound. Is Floyd fighting to survive financially, or is he fighting because he cannot live without the spotlight? The human drive to remain relevant is powerful. After spending decades as the biggest name in boxing, stepping into true retirement means losing the attention, adrenaline, and purpose that defined his life. Exhibitions allow him to stay in shape, collect paychecks, and keep the money machine running without risking his perfect record. Yet they also reveal a deeper dependency on the game. Some see addiction to the spotlight, others see financial necessity, the expensive lifestyle and ongoing obligations that make full retirement feel impossible. The truth likely sits somewhere in between. Floyd built his identity around being the best and being seen as the best. Letting go completely would mean confronting a life without the roar of the crowd and the flash of cameras. This active retirement captures the struggle many elite athletes face. The ring gave them everything: money, fame, identity. Leaving it behind often feels like losing a part of themselves. Whether driven by addiction, necessity, or a mixture of both, Floyd's continued presence in the spotlight raises an important question. When does the fight for survival become a fight simply to feel alive?
Tell me who I got. Floyd and Pacquiao. Facts.
I got Floyd. You ever thought about getting that Pitbull Cruz? Y'all both defense would be crazy on the
Yeah, for sure. But like, y'all got like, I just gotta be real with myself. Like,
both defenses will
I'm really like I'm really in the sport of boxing, so I really know what people want and don't want.
Right.
So some things I just don't entertain.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I would love to fight Pitbull Cruz. Mexican versus black, it always sells. Period. In boxing, sport of boxing. So I would love to fight Pitbull Cruz, but you know.
The final stand: legacy versus liquid gold. We conclude by looking at the full picture. From the real estate seizures to the looming rematch, we ask if Floyd Mayweather can ever truly be free of the money persona, or if he is destined to be a prisoner of the very empire he spent his life building. As we look at the full picture, from looming real estate issues and IRS pressure to the potential Pacquiao rematch, Floyd Mayweather stands at a crossroads between legacy and liquid gold. The question that emerges is painful but necessary. Can he ever truly be free of the money persona, or is he destined to remain a prisoner of the very empire he spent his entire life constructing? Every decision now carries enormous weight. The exhibitions, the property claims, the tax battles, all of it ties back to the brand he created. The money persona that brought him unimaginable success has also become a cage that demands constant performance and validation. Stepping away means risking the collapse of the image that defines him. Staying means continuing a race that may never truly end. This final stand represents more than financial survival. It's about whether a man can find peace after building a life around proving his worth through wealth and dominance. The empire that once protected him now seems to demand more than he can comfortably give. The looming rematch, if it happens, may be less about glory and more about keeping the lights on and the narrative alive. In the end, Floyd Mayweather's story is one of extraordinary triumph mixed with profound human struggle. He achieved what few ever will, yet the very tools that brought him to the top may now prevent him from ever stepping down. The question remains whether he can break free from the money persona before it consumes the man who created it. Legacy or liquid gold? In Floyd's world, the two have become dangerously intertwined.